Hello class, we're going to try this on the iPad today, so we'll see how this works. Today we are doing classwork 6.3, writing the equation of a line of best fit. In the previous lesson you learned that a line of best fit is a line that represents a set of data that does not make a perfect pattern. In today's lesson we're going to eyeball a line of best fit, find its equation, and use it to make predictions. Question number 1. The relationship between yearly earnings and years of education is given in the table below. So for A, we want to use the data from the table to create a scatter plot. So we are just going to plot the points. This is going to be our X, and the yearly earnings is going to be our Y. So the first thing we're going to do is plot 12, 40. I'm going to zoom in here on the graph. So we want to plot 12, 40. Next point is going to be 13, 42. Right, our next point is going to be 14, 56. Next point, 16, 69. Just make sure you're plotting all these points on your graph. 18, 91, and 21, 102. Alright, and there we have our scatter plot. So the next thing we want to do is draw a line of best fit on the scatter plot, then write its equation. The best way to do this one is to pick two of the points you just did that you think is going to fit the data perfectly. So for me, I'm going to choose actually the first one and the last one. I'm going to choose that big point there and then that big point there. So we're going to draw this line of best fit. And then we also want to find its equation. So using those 2 points, so remember I used 1240 and I used 21, 102 as my 2 points. So we want to find a line that goes through those 2 points. So the first thing we need to do is find the slope, then find the y-intercept, then write the equation. So in order to find the slope, we usually put these in a box. So we've got 12 and 40. Remember, this is your x, this is your y. And then we've got 21 and 102. So I need to find my change of y. So how do I go from 40 to 102? I add 62. And how do I go from 12 to 21? I'm going to add 9. So then my slope is going to be 62 over 9. And you can keep it like that, or you can try and reduce it. In terms of what's probably going to be easiest, I'm just going to put that into the calculator and do 62 divided by 9, and I get 6.89. Perfect. Next thing we need to do is we need to find out the y-intercept. In order to do that, we're going to plug in everything we know using one of our points and using that slope that we found. So we have the equation y equals mx plus b. I'm going to plug in this first value, 12, 40. So for my y, it's 40. So 40 equals my slope, which is 6.89. Times 12. Plus b. So I get 40 equals 6.89 times 12 plus b. So I plugged in my slope, I plugged in x, and I plugged in y. So solving, we've got to first do order of operations, which is multiplication. So I do 6.89 times 12. That gives me 82.68. Plus b is going to equal 40. Next thing is I need to subtract 82.68 from both sides. And when I do 40 minus 82.68, I get a negative 42.68 is going to equal b. Okay. So I now know what my slope is. That's 6.89. I know what my b is. So now I just have to write my final equation. And that's going to be y equals m, but instead of m, I'm going to put my slope, 6.89 x minus my b, 42.68. And that is my equation for the line of best fit. Okay. Note that if you originally chose two different points, so let's say you thought the better 2 points would have been, I'll highlight them in purple here. So maybe you chose 1342 and 1669 and said those two were the better 2 points to choose. You're going to get a slightly different answer, but it still should look pretty close, and that's okay. So you're going to choose the 2 points that you think work best. All right, question C. Question C says, interpret the meaning of the slope in the context of this problem. So remember my slope was 6.89. The yearly earnings is on the y, and the years of education is on the x. Okay. I'm actually going to look at that as 6.89 over 1. So that means that approximately somebody makes $6.89 thousand. So remember, we're working with thousands here. So $6.89 thousand per year. So there's an increase. So there's an increase of $6.89 thousand. So $6,890 for each year of education. Kind of ran into D there. Okay, so there's an increase of $6,890 for each 1 year or each year of education. I interpret the meaning of the y-intercept. So remember, y-intercept here was negative 42.68. So in terms of that problem, that means that if you've had 0 years of education, you're going to make negative $42,000. So negative $42,680 for 0 years of education. Does this answer make sense? Yes or no? And the answer for that one is hopefully you know that this does not make sense. There's no way that if somebody has 0 years of education that we're going to be saying, hey, you owe us $42,000. So it's not possible to earn a negative amount of money. And question E, according to your line of best fit, how many years of education do you need to earn $200,000? Does this make sense? Why or why not? So we are going to plug this in. First thing is $200,000. Is that the X or the Y? So yearly earnings would be on the Y side of things. So we're going to plug in $200,000 for Y and then find out what the X equals. But remember, my Y is already $1,000, so I'm going to say it's 200. So 200 is going to equal 6.89 minus 42.68. Alright, first thing I'm going to do to this problem is add 42.68 to both sides. And I'll rewrite the problem over here. So that'll be 200, 42.68 is equal to 6.89x. And then divide by 6.89 on both sides. And if you take your calculator and you do that on the calculator, 242.68 divided by 6.89 is going to equal 35.22. So 35 years, YRS. Okay. So do you think that makes sense that somebody needs 35 years of education in order to make $200,000? And I'd say it's very highly unlikely that somebody's spending 35 years in school just to make $200,000. All right, go ahead and start watching the next video.